Hey, good people. I just wanted to follow up. I promised that I would come back on here and do a video, a follow up to the short that I did a couple of days ago when I was talking about the universal language of the wealthy, which is silence. And I just wanted to come on for a little bit, and I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit more. Obviously, in a short clip, I couldn't really go a little, more in depth with it. So, what I wanted to talk about specifically, and I think, let me just say this: what prompted this video, in particular, is everything that's going on with, or was going on with, like the whole issue with the SNAP benefits, the government shutdown, people getting laid off, so forth and so on. That's what prompted this video because what I realize is that this channel is primarily about how to get you yourself together, find the value and the worth in yourself so that money will find you so that you don't necessarily have to chase after money. But I started thinking about things from the perspective of what happens once you get the money, right? Once you get the money and you're moving in certain ways. So, what I believe is that the wealthy, they move in silence. I would even venture to say that while we're talking about SNAP benefits and government shutdowns and blah, 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 I can assure you they were probably quietly, strategically behind the scenes making moves. And I'm almost certain they were running up the bag. I feel like a lot of what has taken place, in my opinion, is kind of smoke and mirrors, a way to distract you so that you're not really closely watching what they're doing. And like I said, they're not going to broadcast it, right? One of the things, and I probably get some some feedback on this or some pushback on this, and I hate to say this, but one of the things with Black people in particular is once we run up the bag and once we get the money and we get the resources and we get the assets and so forth and so on, we are overly flashy. We got to pull up in a Bentley, we got to make the money rain, we doing the most. And one thing that I can say is I believe that they move strategically and quietly behind the scenes to run up the bag, but they're also very discreet once they get the money. They're not flashy, they're not like in your face, they're not flexing for the gram. They literally are just living normal lives. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't have things or buy things. I mean, if you work hard for it and you worked it for it, you earned it, then definitely enjoy your money, enjoy your resources. But I feel like there's a way to do it that you can be subtle about it and be low key about it, right? Because one of the things I realize about them, the people, the wealthy, is that they're not flashy most of the times. They'll get, while we going to get the Bentley and the Maybach and all that other stuff, they'll get a Honda Civic. They'll get something that's not like super old, but like a couple years old. They'll buy a car in cash and drive that car until it kind of breaks down. I mean, they're very strategic and they use wisdom as it relates to their money. And I think that's something that we really need to learn how to do. And as I said, like I said, we need to learn that language. It's a universal language. Like I said, they move quietly. They are strategic. They're not broadcasting and putting everything on display. And like I said, we do the most, right? We're like all in your face, like, look at what I got, look at what I'm doing. I went on this trip, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And like I said, I'm not saying don't spend your money. I'm not saying not to enjoy your life. Excuse me, I'm not saying any of that. But I basically am saying we got to move differently. We got to move differently when we get the money and we get the resources. And then to just circle back around to what this channel is really about, right? It's not about this stuff that I'm talking about, but it's not about you moving in silence or any of that. But I thought about it because I saw this young lady on a video, and she like literally was crying because she actually had a job or has a job through the government. And like, I think she was crying because it was like, this was right around Halloween or whatever, and she couldn't, I guess, afford to get her kid or kids a Halloween costume. And she was crying. And let me say this about the SNAP benefits, about government shutdown, and any and all of that. If you need SNAP benefits, get the SNAP benefits. I'm not for it or against it. I personally, I don't have kids or anything, so there's no need for me to get it. And plus, I work a regular 9 to 5. But if you have to get it, don't be prideful. Get it. Do what you got to do. Government shutdown. It's unfortunate. It's sad. But it also made me realize and makes me realize, what are you doing when you get the money, right? Because you never know. Nobody knows what's going to happen the next day. So I think, like, the next week, the next month, I think it makes more sense to, put something aside for a rainy day, because nobody foresaw that coming, right? I mean, I'm sure she didn't, than anybody else. So it's sad on one hand, and it's also like it kind of maybe opens your eyes and makes you realize we need to do things differently as it relates to money. And we just need to be a little bit more strategic in how we move. And like I said, we need to learn the universal language, which is silence. Do what you got to do it quietly. Um, I recently had something happen that was positive from an economic standpoint. And it's hard. It's hard not to be like, look at what I gather, look at what happens, or what happened for me. But I realize, I hate to say this, everybody is not, not your biggest cheerleader. Everybody does not want to see you succeed. So sometimes it's just better to just make your moves, get what you got to get, do what you have to do, and do it quietly. And so that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I don't do a lot of these long form videos, but I wanted to elaborate a little bit more than just saying, okay, the universal language of the wealthy is silence. So I wanted to kind of give a little bit more context to that. I hope you guys have an amazing day. This is my day off, so I try to do some form of video if I can, or I try to engage as much as I can. And speaking of engagement, I do kindly ask, this is a newer channel, that you guys, subscribe to the channel, that you like, that you comment, turn on the post notifications so you get notifications when I drop videos, down the line. But I appreciate you guys. I love you. I thank you guys for rocking with me. And I'll see you guys probably, I'm thinking sometime next week, because the rest of the week I'll be doing my 9 to 5 gig and getting my money that way. So that's all I have to say. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in a few days. Take care. Bye-bye.